Hi guys! Today I want to talk about my process, my writing process. I've had a couple of people ask me several questions actually about my actual process of from the beginning to the end how I write a book. And this one is actually a really complicated question. And I think that's because my process, we've got a friend as usual. My process seems to change a lot from one book to the next, and a lot of times, here you go, buddy. A lot of times that depends on the genre that I'm writing in. I'm gonna try to make this sort of my he's for sale or adoption to a good home. He's actually my best friend. I love that dog. That dog goes with me everywhere. He even goes on the kayak. You guys will see that in videos. I don't even know what I'd do without him, but he doesn't, he's in charge, not me. I'm sure anybody that has pets knows how that works. So my basic process, I can't say no. So if I get an idea, once I get that idea, I don't know how to like make it go away. My brain's like, oh, it's here and it lives here forever. It's not going away until it's on pre-order, really. And one thing that happens to me a lot is I get asked to write in series. So right now I've been super involved in the Shop series. That is a multi-publisher, multi-author, well, not so much multi-genre. We're supposed to be romance, but it's been slowly trickling away because once you get Aaron involved, then Aaron starts to like weave skulls into romance, which is not sorry. Anyway, basically I tend to write a lot of serious stuff. And right now, I've had a lot of luck with that because my readers are shared readers with these other authors that tend to do these series. So it's worked out well. It's great for cross promotion, all of that. But like with these Shop series books, there's always a theme. So we did ice cream as a theme. Candy is the next one coming up as a theme. We've got even a sex shop series, which is hilarious. But anyway, so that gives me the initial, all right, you have to write a book that has the theme of candy in it. You need the word a candy, type of candy in the title. So for me, like ice cream is super easy. I have a Diary of a Serial Killer series based on a dude who hides women's bodies in his ice cream truck and in the freezers and in the ingredients and everywhere. Jimmy Putnam, he's awesome. Diary of a Serial Killer. That series is just a blast. There's a character that came because of one of these Shop series books. I thought, well, I need a name that I could use for a woman. I wanted to continue my serial killer series. It sells well. People love it, and frankly, I'm in love with that series too. So I'm always looking for an excuse to go back to it. So when this came up, I thought, well, he's on death row. The character in this series is now on death row. What can I do with that? And somehow make it related to ice cream. Well, not hard when you're dealing with the ice cream killer. So I decided the ice cream killer should meet his true love and basically fall in love and get a prison pen pal and all that and, go from there. So I came up with a character. Her name is Cotton Candy, Candace Kane. But Cotton Candy is the title of the book. And she sells margaritas, tacos, and cotton candy out of her food vendor truck, straight from the circus. She's a zany hell of a character. The book title is Cotton Candy because that's a flavor of ice cream. We were told you have to come up with a flavor of ice cream for the series. And I swung it as romance because, hey, it's romance. Who says prison romance doesn't count, right? So that's how I tied it to the series. So once I knew, okay, I'm going to name this character Candace Kane, and I've got to use an ice cream flavor in the title, I went with Cotton Candy because I wanted her to write to Jimmy is the serial killer, on pink paper in Cotton Candy's pink. It sounds crazy, but it was that simple. So in the book, her pens smell like cotton candy, and course, she has to sell cotton candy out of the margarita truck. Her staple drink is cotton candy margaritas, all of that. So first thing I did, cover, because, you know, I'm one of these people, I need a cover in order to write. And that's so bad for people that don't finish books, but I do, so for me it works just fine. The great thing about doing it this way is that when you already have the cover, you can make that cover work for your book. You can find a cover that you're in love with and then just write it into the book so that the cover makes sense. Instead of what I think is harder, which is write the book and then get a cover. I think that's harder because the designer can't always see your vision. And that's the perk to the way that I process and the way that I do things. I have a cover before I even begin. Now, obviously, if you're going to a publisher, you can't do that. That's not necessarily something you can do at all. But in my case, because I'm technically self-publishing it, I certainly can. And anybody else that's self-publishing, think about that. You would find that, like, if you do your cover first, and it doesn't mean you have to blurb it, just your actual front cover, you'll go, ooh, and you'll be able to, like, tie it into your book better. At least that happens for me, and I love that. So once I have a cover, I blurb it. I don't mind blurbs. Everyone hates blurbs. I'll do videos on blurbs. I think there's so many tricks to making a blurb fast. It never takes me more than 5 minutes to blurb a book. That comes from my journalism training. I was trained to write quickly, be concise, and sum up big picture stuff in a quick, like, little space, a chunk of time. So in that way, I'm really fortunate. I mean, I find that I'm always pretty fortunate how my, like, career path has gone. Journalism to mental health to therapy to author to publisher. It's like it was all meant to be this whole time, which is super cool. But anyway, so then I'll blurb it, and then that blurb, I take that blurb and I paste it very top of the manuscript. Cotton Candy, USA Today bestselling author Aaron Lee, A Diary of a Serial Killer series sequel, Ice Cream Shop series novella. Pop in the blurb. That blurb is my guide. I better make this book match that blurb because now it's on the back of the cover. I will not stray. A blurb to me is like a vow. That blurb goes first and I follow that blurb. That's the only form of an outline I I'm gonna respect it. So then I just start going. I do not plot. I do not care about a plot. I don't want to think about a plot. I had one series where I had to plot. And when I say plot, I am talking a wall, like 10 feet worth of diagrams and pie charts and graphs. The reason for that, it was my Lola Party of 8 series. That series is about a character who is living with 9 people in her head. She has dissociative identity disorder, and she's got to be able to keep these people straight. Well, when you're the author, you better keep those people straight too. So that book was different. I had no choice but to plot. It wasn't even so much plotting, it was Frog, 5 years old, hates Martha. Martha, 82 years old, mother figure to the system. Bob, age 12, always getting in trouble, hates that Lola wears skirts. Whatever, I had to, like, do that to organize who was who. That's not generally the case. So I just go. Chapters 1 through 20, boom, write them out. Then, you know, obviously the basic stuff, the acknowledgements, the bio, all that jazz. And then I put it away. I've talked about this many times before. I have a playlist for indie authors, or there's another one about self-publishing. But I put it away for a month unless I don't have time because of a deadline so that I can look at it later. Because later, when I come back to it in a month, I'm going to see the plot holes. I'm going to go, really? She started off with brown hair and now she suddenly has purple hair. We need to either show how that hair changed or make her have purple hair the whole time or dye her hair on chapter 8. Whatever. One sentence is fine. We can get her hair dyed quickly. But I see that if I wait that month, and so I do. Then it's 2 rounds of self-edits, put it away again, 1 more round of self-edit, off to the editors. That's my general process. Start to finish on a 25 to 40,000 word novella, 3 months. Yeah, And that's that. But the thing is, I'm juggling whips. So while that thing is sitting, I'm working on a different one. So right now I'm working on Drumroll for Dallas, which is a contemporary romance. And that is part of a series called 12 Drummers Drumming. I'm working on Mexico Calling, which is a series of books that are set in countries, the Countryman series. My country's Mexico. That one's been cool because I'm learning Spanish. I love to learn. And one of the things I love about writing the most is the research. I miss it about journalism, so I use that when I can. So Mexico Calling. And then I'm doing some self-editing on other books I have. I've got a huge 800-pager, which I'm going to have to condense, coming next year called Carnal Instincts. And that book's my baby. I don't know if that's ever going to leave. Like, I will probably edit that thing dozens of times. So my general process, though, is exactly what I just described. And then before I hand it to editors, one more read through of that blurb to make sure I've honored that vow. Away we go, out the door. Edits, get it back, change the things I agree with, ignore, and I'm not afraid. Ignore the things I don't, because there are times I do not agree with the editors, and mostly that's when it comes to voice. I have about 10 very distinct voices, and I'm very good at honoring those, which is great. My editors are too, honestly, but I'm like the double check. I make sure we're honoring those, because to me that's like what makes it an Erin Lee book, and I think it's important. What makes it a Jane Doe book? What makes it a Sally Smith book? What makes it a Bob Johnson book? It's so important to honor your voice. I cannot stress that enough. So I do that as much and often as I can, and one way I do that is if I don't like an editor's suggestion about a contraction, or I'll just, no, that's how I want my character to talk, because they talk like I make characters talk. Anyway, that's my general process, and I hope that answers your question. Questions, I got a couple on that. Again, no right or wrong way. I think everybody writes differently. I know that I used to plot books out. I used to outline. I used to write long synopsis, which I don't like that at all. That's hard. And they were really helpful, though, with those first 5 or 6 books. I couldn't write without that sort of outline rigidity. Now I don't want to write with it, only because the surprises my characters give me make it more fun for me. It feels like I'm going on a ride with the readers. All right, guys, I hope that helps. Questions, comments, I'd love to hear about your process. I'd love to hear what kind of excites you about the process, what parts you dread. I know most people hate blurb writing. I want to hear your experiences. I mean, one of the reasons I'm here is to learn new things. I am absolutely open-minded at trying new things. I try everything. Whether I like it or not, well, I don't know, but I'll try it. Until next time, peace, love, books, and crazy.